Hi, everyone. This is a reading of the Project 2 project sheet, instructions for you for doing Project 2. This sheet will be posted under the assignments area, and also in files. And also this video will be put into, I think it's the module 4 and the page 4 instructions. So project 2 is somewhat like project 1 in that you're going to be doing a painting in layers, but this time in Adobe Photoshop. So the Adobe programs are similar, but not the same at all. So it'll be good for you to do this somewhat similar painting in Photoshop because you have some of the methods already from Illustrator. So the title is Project 2, Scape Painting in Adobe Photoshop, Ways of Showing Space, Light Logic, and Color Palettes using brushes and layers in Adobe Photoshop. Phew, that's a lot. So first of all, number 1, you're going to take 5 photos of familiar places that have at least 2 historic ways of showing space in the 2-dimensional picture plane. And I have a handout, Ways of Showing Space. It's on Canvas, and it will be also in several places so that you can find it. I'm going to post it on the page for the module, and also it should be in the projects folder in files under readings, I think. Confer with the professor to pick the best one for project 2. So you're going to take 5 photos and show them to me, and I'll help you pick one. Number 2, create a new Adobe Photoshop document, 10 by 16 inches, landscape or portrait orientation, color mode CMYK. Place your chosen photo on the bottom layer and scale proportionately to fill the smaller 10-inch dimension. Crop, using the crop tool, your canvas to the larger dimension of the placed photo. So all I'm saying there is that you can close down your canvas the way we did in Illustrator with the artboards tools, but this time there is no artboard tool. You have to do it by cropping. And I'll give a demo when I start to set up the document itself. And I'll do that in a separate video. So the demo will be given, it says during lecture, but that is when we do an on-ground class, so to speak. So I'll give it as a video. Number 3, do a line drawing for placement on the bottom layer of your document using a small, round, hard-edged brush. In Illustrator, we did separate line drawings depicting the background, middle ground, and foreground. But in Photoshop, you will be using the line drawing that you do on the bottom layer for all your other layers. So 4, create new layers, background, middle ground, foreground. Paint from your image in those spaces. As before in the last project, you don't have to copy your photo, you can just use it for inspiration. You can't pull a copy of your photo this time, you cannot, onto the clipboard because there is no clipboard in Photoshop. So you have to either, you could put it in a different location just above your window with your Photoshop painting, or you can sample from the bottom layer. But I'm saying don't copy it. You don't have to sample every pixel. You can use it as inspiration also. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. Using layers in Photoshop are similar to using layers in Illustrator. Is similar to using layers in Illustrator, that should be is. You can create as many layers as you need, but be efficient. Too many is hard to work with. Watch the tutorial by this professor. Familiarize yourselves with the brushes in Photoshop by watching LinkedIn Learning, and used to be called lynda.com, and the video by this professor. So I will have a using brushes in Photoshop video up. There's also an introduction to Photoshop exercise, which is exercise 4, and there'll be a video of that also. And you should watch tutorials about the mixer brush. The mixer brush is really cool, and I'll be touching on it in my demo about brushes in Photoshop, but and maybe I'll do a separate demo for the mixer brush, separate video. In any case, it's a really cool brush. It mixes, it enables you to work with a so-called dirty brush. It mixes as you work. So it's similar to a brush that used to be found in a program called Painter that we taught sometimes for this course also. But we don't anymore because everybody uses Photoshop. You may sample local color from the photo or create palettes from the photo using the blend tool in Illustrator. Watch video by this professor. I actually showed you how to do that in the last exercise when we were using a live paint tool. So I showed you how to set up a blend with the blend tool. It's really easy, and you could create palettes that way. Complementary and analogous palettes perhaps, or palettes that just come from colors in your photo. So then it says, and placing in an extended area of your Photoshop painting, demonstration tutorial by this professor. So one way you can use these palettes is to extend your canvas up, down, or up or down, and put these palettes into that area, and then at the end crop them out when you're done with your painting. And number 5, you can save as a final version and crop your color palettes. I just said that if necessary. Save as an Adobe PDF file to hand in. When you make your PDF file, make sure again that you have layers checked. I'm not sure saving out of Photoshop that it reads exactly the same, but I'll check that. So this is my reading of your project sheet, but you also can read over for yourself and you know, ask me questions by email if you like. Thank you.